The Idries Shah Foundation podcast. Practical psychology for today. Featuring the works of Idries Shah, narrated by David Ault. Welcome to the Idries Shah Foundation podcast. In this edition of the podcast, we will hear selections from The Secret Law of Magic by Idries Shah. This audio is made available by the Idries Shah Foundation. Spell of Alexander. 42. And Alexander said, When anything is taken out of the navel of an infant which cometh forth of it being cut, and be put under the stone of a ring of silver or gold, then the passion or grief of the colic cometh not in any wise to him that beareth it. 43. And Galen saith, When the leaves of sorrel be beaten, they loose the belly, and when the seed of it be drunken, it looseth the belly. And it is said that the root of sorrel hanged on him that hath the swinepox helpeth him. And philosophers say, When thou wilt that a beast return to his lodgings, anoint his forehead with sepe squilla, and it will return. Taming animals by magical means. 44. And Aristotle said in the Book of Beasts, If any man put wrought ware upon the homes of a cow's calf, it will go with him wheresoever he will without labour. And if any man anoint the homes of kine with ware and oil or pitch, the pain of their feet goeth away. And if they shall anoint the tongues of oxen with any tallow, they neither taste nor eat meat, but they shall die for hunger, except it be willed away with salt and vinegar. And if any man anoint the nether parts of a cock with oil, he neither will nor may tread a hen. If thou desire that a cock grow not, anoint his head and forehead with oil. 45. It is said in the book of Archigenes, Quando cum ilia, of the hairs hanged upon him that suffereth the colic, it profiteth him. And Aristotle said, The emerauds goeth away from him which sitteth upon the skin of a lion. 46. And if the dung of a hare be broken unto powder, and cast abroad upon a place of emotes or pismires, then the pismires leave the other place. 47. Philosophers say, if the head of a goat is hanged upon him which suffereth swinepox, he is healed by it. Love charm. 48. If thou wilt that a woman be not vicious nor desire men, take the private members of a wolf, and the hairs which do grow on the cheeks or eyebrows of him, and the hairs which be under his beard, and burn it all, and give it to her to drink when she knoweth not, and she shall desire no other man. 49. And it is said, When a woman desireth not her husband, then let him take a little of the tallow of a buck goat, mean between little and great. Let him anoint his privy members with it, and do the act of generation. She shall love him, and shall not do the act of generation afterwards with any other. Against poison. 50. And it is said that when a snail is poisoned, it eateth the herb called organy, and is healed. And therefore they know that the herb called organy hath lion under poison. Also it is said when the weasel is poisoned of a serpent, it eateth rue, and they know by this that rue is contrary to the venom of serpents. 51. And a mule put under the prick of scorpions delivereth a man, because she is contrary and feareth not him. 52. Philosophers have invented that if any woman be barren when there is put to her a thing that maketh a woman barren, she can in no wise be fruitful. 53. And it is said that when a sponge is cast in wine mixed with water, and after drawn forth strained and wringed, the water cometh forth of it, and the wine remaineth. Charm against a cough. 54. Tabarices said, If a stone be hanged upon a sponge on the neck of a child, which cougheth with a vehement or great cough, his cough is mitigated and restrained. 55. And being put on the head of an ass, or into his fundament scarabaeus, that is, a fly with a black shell, that breedeth in cows' herds and is black, called a beetle, cutteth him, and he turneth, until it be drawn from him. 56. It is said also that if any stone be bounden to the tail of an ass, he will not bray nor roar. 57. And it is said, if you make a ring of a rod of a fresh maya tree, and put it on thy ring finger, it mitigateth or extincteth the imposthume under the armholes. 58. In the book of Aristotle, it is said that the root of white henbane, when it is hanged upon a man suffering of the colic, it is profitable to him. 59. And when saltpetre is put in a vessel and vinegar upon it, it will boil or seethe mightily without any fire. 60. Belbinus said, When thou takest the white of an egg and alum, and anointeth a cloth with it, and washest it off with water of the sea, being dry, it letteth the fire to burn. Spell to prevent the hands burning with a red-hot iron. 61. Another said, When red arsenicum is taken, broken and confected, or made with juice of the herb called houseleek, and the gall of a bull, and a man anointeth his hands with it, and after taketh hot iron, it burneth not them. Likewise, if there be taken ex magne and alum lamente, and strong vinegar, and great mallows or hollyhocks, and then bray them well together, and anoint thy hands therewith, fire hurteth them not. Note, this seems to be a recipe to be used against the fire ordeal. Witches and sorcerers in the early days of the Inquisition were expected to carry red-hot metal bars in their bare hands without harm in order to prove their innocence. The theory was that a miracle would vouchsafe their innocence if they had been unjustly accused. Illusion. 62. When thou wilt that they which be in a palace seem without heads, take smirt brimstone with oil, and put it in a lamp, and make light with it, and put it in the midst of men, and thou shalt see a marvellous thing. 63. And Belbinus said again, He that shall put an herb called purslane upon his head, she shall not dream nor vision at any time. Animals and spells. 64. And Aristotle saith that mares, when they smell the smock of a lamp put out, they bring forth their birth before it is perfect, and likewise this chanceth to certain women with child. If thou wilt know when a woman telleth thee a lie. 65. Take the tongue of sea pie, and convey it cunningly into the bosom of her. Improving the memory. 66. And if the heart, eye, or brain of a lapwing or black plover be hanged upon a man's neck, it is profitable against forgetfulness, and sharpeneth man's understanding. If a woman may not conceive. 67. Take an hart's horn, turned into powder, and let it be mixed with a cow's gall. Let a woman keep it about her, and she shall conceive. Teething. 68. The tooth of a foal or colt of 1 year old, put around the neck of a child, maketh his teeth to breed without pain. madness. 69. The tooth of a mare being put upon the head of a man being mad, delivereth him from his fury. Against mice. 70. The hoof of a horse perfumed in a house driveth away mice. The same chanceth also by the hoof of a mule. That the hot water come out of a cauldron. 71. Take a blanch that is terra francisca, with pitch, cast it in water, and it shall come forth all. That fire may come forth of water. 72. Take the shell of an egg, and put it in the quick brimstone and lime, and shut the hole, and put it in the water, and it kindleth. Plaguing a man with flies. 73. And they say, if any man be anointed with the milk of an ass, all the flies in the house will gather to him. To write letters or bills, which he not read but in the night. 74. Take the gall of a snail, or milk of a sow, and put it in the fire, or with water of a worm shining late. Making a topaceous stone. 75. If ye mingle together many whites of hens' eggs, a month after they are made glass, and hard as stone, and of this being after this fashion is made a sophistical precious stone, called topaceous, if it be conjointed before with saffron or red earth. Against drinking. 76. Likewise, if the foam which is found about the stones of a hart or a horse or ass being weary be mixed with wine, and the wine be given to any man to drink, he shall abhor wine for a month. 77. And if any man shall have many eels in a wine vessel, and they be suffered to die in it, if any man drink of it, he shall abhor wine, and by chance for ever. Spell of the pot. 78. And it is said, if a rope be taken, with which a thief is or has been hanged up with, and a little chaff, which a whirlwind lifted up to the air, and let them be put in a pot and set among other pots, that pot shall break all the other pots. Bewitching bread. 79. Also take thou a little of the aforesaid rope, and put it on any instrument, with which the bread is put in the oven. When he that should put it in the oven should put it in, he shall not be able to put it in, but it shall leap out again immediately. That men may seem without heads. 90. Take an adder's skin, auri pigmentum, and green pitch of Rheaponticum, and the wax of new bees, and the fat or grease of an ass, and break them all, and put them in a dull seething pot full of water, and make it to seethe at a slow fire, and after let it wax cold, and make a taper. And every man that shall see light of it shall seem headless. That men may seem to have the visage or countenance of a dog. 91. Take the fat out of an ear of a dog, and anoint with it a little new silk, and put it in a new lamp or green glass, and put the lamp amongst men, and they shall see the visage of a dog. That men may seem to have 3 heads. 92. Take the hair of a dead ass, and make a rope and dry it. Take the marrow of the principal bone of his right shoulder. Mix it with virgin wax, and anoint the cord, and put it upon the thresholds of the house. They that come into the house shall seem to have 3 heads. They that be in the house shall seem asses to them that enter in. If thou wilt that a man's head seem an ass head. 93. Take up the covering of an ass, and anoint the man on his head. If thou will that a chicken or other thing leap in the dish. 94. Take quicksilver and the powder calamite, and put it in a glass bottle well stoppered, and put it within a hot thing. For seeing quicksilver is hot, it moveth itself, and maketh it to leap or dance. If thou wilt see that other men cannot. 95. Take the gall of a male cat, and the fat of an hen all white, and mix them together, and anoint thy eyes, and thou shalt see it that others cannot see. If thou wilt understand the voices of birds. 96. Associate with 2 fellows in the 28th day of October, and go into a certain wood with dogs as to hunt, and carry home with thee the beast which thou shalt find first. Prepare it with the heart of a fox, and thou shalt understand the voice of birds and beasts. And if thou wilt also that any other understand, kiss him, and he shall understand. If thou wilt loose bonds. 97. Go into the wood, and look where the pie hath her nest with her birds. And when thou shalt be there, climb up the tree, and bind about the whole of it whatever thou wilt. For when she seeth thee, she goeth for a certain herb, which she will put to the binding, and it will break. And that herb falleth to the ground upon a cloth, which thou shouldst put under the tree, and be then present, and take it. Invisibility. 98. In the nest of the lapwing or black plover is a certain stone, which is of diverse colours. Bear it with thee, and thou shalt be invisible. That a woman may confess what she has done. 99. Take a water frog quick, take away her tongue, and put it into the water, and put the tongue unto a part of the heart of the woman sleeping. Then ask what thou wilt, she shall say the truth. To put any man in fear in his sleep. 100. Put under his head the skin of an ape. Delusions. 101. A perfume whereby every man shall seem to all that be in the house in the form of elephants or horses. Take a spice which is called alcasengi, and bray it mixed with fat of a dolphin fish, and make thereof grains, as of pomicitron. After, perfume some of them upon a fire of crow's dung, which is milked, and let not a place be in the house from which smoke come forth. But let yate and the milk be in the lodging of all seem as they were great men in the shape of horses and elephants, and it is a very marvellous thing. 102. Another perfume, which when thou makest, thou seest outwardly green men and men of many shapes, and infinite marvels, which are not discerned for their multitudes. Take timar, that is, vermilion, and the stone lazulus, and pennyroyal of the mountains, and beat it all to powder, and sift it. Mix it with the fat of a dolphin fish, horse, or elephant, and make grains or corns after the fashion of rice, and dry them in a shadow. Perfume it with what thou wilt, and it shall be done what is said. A perfume to see in our sleep what is good and what is ill. 103. Take the blood of an ass congealed, and the fat lupi cerevi, and sweet incense or gum called storax, and also storar, and of some called styrar. Gather it all up together by equal weights, and let them be mixed, and grains or corns be made thereof, and let the house be perfumed with them. Thou shalt see him in thy sleep, that shall show to thee all things. Magical tapers. 104. The manner of making a match or candle wick, which being kindled thou shalt see men in what shape thou wilt. Take the eyes of a shrike owl, and the eyes of a fish which is called Ashores, and the eyes of a fish which is called Libinicis, and the gall of wolves. Break them with thy hands, and mix they all together, and put them in a vessel or glass. Then, when thou wilt work it, take the fat of any beast thou wilt, that this may be made in the shape of it. Melt it, and mix it perfectly with that medicine, and anoint the match candle wick, or whatsoever thou wilt with it. After, kindle it in the midst of the house, and the men shall seem in the shape of that beast whose fat thou didst take. Another match or candle wick, that men may seem in the shape of angels. 105. Take the eyes of a fish, and the eyes of Philo, that is, of a breaker of bones, and break them with thy hands, and make them soft, and put them in a vessel of glass for 7 days. After put some oil in them, and lighten it in a green lamp, and put it before men which be in the house. They shall see themselves in the shape of angels by the light of the fire. Another match, or wick of a candle, making men appear with black faces. 106. Take a black lamp, and pour in it oil of the elder or alder tree or quicksilver, a part of them that be in letting blood, and in that blood oil of the elder or alder tree, some saith of the bur tree, and quicksilver. A marvellous lamp, in which appeareth a thing of terrible quantity, having in the hand a rod, and feareth a man. 107. Take a green frog, and strike off the head of it upon a green cloth, and make it wet with the oil of a bur tree or elder tree, and put it in the wick, and light it in the green lamp. Then shalt thou perceive a black man standing, between whose heads there shall be a lamp and a marvellous thing. Another wick, which being candled and water put thereon, waxeth strong, and if oil it goeth out. 108. Take lime which water hath not touched, and put it with a weight equal to it, of wax, and the half of it of oil of balm and naphtha citrina, with equal to it of brimstone, and make a wick of it, and drop down like dew upon it water, and it shall be kindled, and drop down oil upon it, and it shall be put out. Another wick which, being kindled, all things seem white as silver. 109. Take a lizard, and cut away the tail of it, and take that which cometh out, for it is like quicksilver. After, take a wick, and make it wet with oil, and put it in a new lamp, and kindle it, and the house shall seem bright and white, or gilded with silver. A wick which being lighted, women cease not to dance and play, as they were mad for joy. 110. Take the blood of a hare, and the blood of a certain fowl which is called solon, and is like a turtle dove, and the blood of the turtle male equal to the half of it. Then put it in a wick, and lighten it in the midst of the house in which are singers and wenches, and a marvellous thing shall be proved. If thou wilt seem all inflamed from thy head to thy feet, and yet not hurt. 111. Take white great mallows or hollyhock, mix them with the whites of eggs, and anoint thy body with it, and let it be until it be dried up. And after anoint thee with alum, and afterward cast on it small brimstone, beaten into powder. For the fire is inflamed on it, and hurteth not. And if thou make upon the palm of thy hand, thou shalt be able to hold the fire without hurt. If thou wilt see deep into water, read books by night. 112. Anoint thy face with the blood of the caramouse or bat, and thou shalt do as I say. A lantern, of which he that seeth it shall be afraid. 113. Make a wick of white linen cloth, and put in the hollowness of it the slough of a serpent and gross salt, and fill it with oil olive, and give it to whom thou wilt. But as soon as he lighteth it, he shall tremble, and be sore afraid. Here endeth the secrets of Albertus Magnus. This podcast is copyright 2018, the Idries Shah Foundation.